drive, you had your hands at 10 and 2 o'clock, and you're paying attention to the line, you're checking the mirrors. I mean, you really focus on how to drive. But I mean, nowadays when you drive, what? You eat your Big Mac, and you're smoking your cigar, and you're juggling your cell phone, and you're playing with the nav system. You just drive, right? You don't even think about how to drive, you just drive. It's the same thing for cigar rollers. You know, they just kind of do what they do. When you're making 225 up to 600 units a day, depending on what particular item you're making, it's just inherent muscle memory is the way that they're doing what they do. And it's very difficult to take somebody, even though they might be very talented and gifted, from another factory and try to incorporate them into the way you do things. Now, as I said to you earlier, we're all essentially doing the same thing, but we have our own little ways of the way we like to do things, in particular the way we like to bunch our cigars like that. It is different from the other factories. And as a result of that, we find it much easier to train somebody than it is to actually take somebody with a lot of experience. And the byproduct of that is to have a relatively young workforce. And that's what you guys notice when you're coming to this space. Another thing that's different is the way that we train people. Most factories train people with the concept of getting them good enough to start producing quesadoras, fumas, you know, lower end products. Just get them producing so they can make us some money. It's not the approach we take at all. Basically, when somebody comes on to train here at Drew Estate, they spend a minimum of just 30 and sometimes as much as 45 days just standing. We don't let them sit, we don't let them touch tobacco, we don't let them do anything but 8 hours a day to watch. People that know how to make stuff. That's what they have to do. That's their first job for 30 to 45 days, just physically watching. And then when we sit them down, they have one job. And that one job is to make one good cigar. It may take them a week, but that's what we go for. We want them to make one cigar the way we want it, the right way. A handmade premium cigar with the draw that we desire. And once they make the one, we then concentrate on getting them to make 2 a day. And then we concentrate on making 10 a day, 15 a day, until they get to the point that they can make about 75 to 100 cigars a day of that quality. That process typically takes us about 6 months. Once they hit that point, they can make about 75 to 100 a day. It's at that point that they're sit down with the rest of production and actually begin producing cigars that will eventually end in a box. And it typically takes them somewhere between a year to a year and a half before they get up to speed with their compadres to where they can make whatever production product they're working on. If it happens to be something like Cuba, about 300, 325 a day. Obviously now with Liga Privada, somebody has to have 3-4 years of experience before they're going to be able to be graduated to that level. But the bottom line is we really focus on getting one cigar right. Not about quantity, it's about quality. That's the key element for us. You guys got any questions before we move on? One or two places